fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989 would see Europe expand eastward, and as people arrived, this pattern of gangs and agencies became like the Wild West, with little action taken to regulate it until 2004. Gang labour is well established, and as I've written about in the 19th century, was open to abuse. Some gangmasters would purchase a premises as a hotel or hostel for their workers to occupy. The gangmaster would ensure all the correct permits to work were held, would recruit at home and abroad, and provide accommodation, with the rent for this taken from people's wages. Such a system was open to fraud, abuse and exploitation. It worked for many and failed for many. Ordinary domestic houses were bought or rented and over-occupied by gang staff, in some cases involving people staying in garages and sheds. Even once they were given the powers, local authorities repeatedly failed to address this, causing misery for neighbours, let alone the exploitation of the occupants themselves. Not all multiple occupancy was bad. For those wishing to settle in Spalding, it provided a means to an end. By putting up with hard living conditions for a couple of years and working all hours, you could buy a house of your own. The food and farming industry had created an area of opportunity, but at a price. A new plentiful supply of labour had a consequence. It suppressed wages in an area that saw rising cost of living, fuelled by a group of hard-working people prepared to put up with low-cost, low-standard residential circumstances, if only on a temporary basis, to either establish themselves here or to return to their origins. Every bit of the food industry was implicit in this race to the bottom. Previous generations of businesses had invested time, money and resources back into the local community, the legacy of which remains to this day. But as we enter the 21st century, this was not the pattern in big business, that rather promoted itself with meagre social investments for appearance's sake. Coupled with this was a reduction of facilities in proportion to the population, be it health, welfare, social services, law and order, or even basic utilities. This short-changing of the local population, whether newcomer or long-standing resident, fed dissatisfaction. Thus we see South Lincolnshire and the Fens area with a population that feels as politically, socially and economically remote from London power base as previous generations did when there were greater physical barriers and poorer communications.